listening to Jai Long, and this is Make Your Break. Whether you're a big-hearted creative or an aspiring entrepreneur, let's take action on your dreams, reconnecting you with your why and giving you the how. I'm here to dish out actionable mindset tips and fun industry secrets to help you blow up your biz. From eye-opening reality checks to motivational gold, no two episodes are ever the same. So tune in weekly, skip the FOMO, and let's dive into the deep together. Welcome. You're listening to Jai Long, and this is Make Your Break. And today, I have some exciting news. I'm launching a whole new podcast show called Educators Rising. So I want to talk about why I'm doing that, but just let's digress a little bit and rewind. This show started in 2019, and it all started because I was so scared of podcasting. I really didn't want to have my voice recorded online. I didn't want to sound like an idiot. I didn't really want to. I'm such an introvert, right? So I don't really love sharing stories, especially to the whole wider world. And I was just talking to my sister the other day, and I was saying I've got over 200 hours worth of podcast episodes out in the world right now, which blew her mind and it blew my mind. I can't believe I've just talked to my microphone for that long. But this show is really successful, and I've got to say the reason why it's successful is not because I'm super charming and it's not because of all the content, but really it comes down to consistency, like showing up over and over and over. And I talk about consistency so often inside this show, and for me, it's one of the most important things because I know that I'm so resilient and I've got the capabilities of outworking everybody, even if I'm not the smartest, not the most talented, don't have the best opportunities, whatever it is. So we always have a superpower. And for me, it's the art of showing up regardless if I've been knocked down, no one's listening, no one shows up for me, like whatever it is. And I hope that you've found your superpower as well as a creative entrepreneur. Now I'm going to dive straight into today's episode without any intro or anything. But before I do, actually, I just want to say a big thank you to those that actually left a review on the podcast. Like, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to call out a winner this month. One lucky person's going to get a mentoring session with me that left me a review on this podcast. And if you do want to leave a review, it's in the captions down below. Wherever you're listening to this, I'm going to have a link. A big thank you. It helps us expand this show, reach new people, and it helps you help others in your industry, which I think is a really big thing. So let's get into it. I'm starting a whole new podcast. I got a few questions like, why are you doing this, Jai? Don't you already have enough on your plate? Like, surely you don't need 2 shows to manage now. And all of those are very relevant, yes. And when you first start out doing anything, a lot of the times you're really trying to protect your time and you don't have enough time. And it feels overwhelming, especially when you first quit your job and you go out there to start a new business or start a new project, a new podcast, a new YouTube channel, whatever it is. Maybe you're launching a course. And what happens is after a while, you're able to manage more, take more on, even take on more stress, and things become less stressful for you as you sort of work your way through leveling up as an entrepreneur. And I personally love that about being an entrepreneur. I love the fact that I can take on more things, put more on my plate, and expand more and impact more. And it's one of the things that I do believe that you will get to as you keep consistently showing up over and over, because you will learn all the strategies that you need that will make your job so much easier. So the reason why I'm starting a whole new show, and it's called Educators Rising, is because one really important thing for me is to be able to leave the world a better place. And I love bringing up industries and people around me, and I love impacting and sharing my knowledge, right? And I think it's so important. So one really cool thing, when I say like leave the world a better place, one really cool thing that we can do right now is we can teach the next generation the things that we went through, and it means they can skip our mistakes, and it means they'll get success much faster than we did, and hopefully they become more successful and they achieve more than what we do, right? So we never want to be the best of the best, of course not. Our whole legacy is how can we help others be the best of the best? And then hopefully the next generation, yes, they've got all the things that they need and they can become even better. They can hit things faster. They can impact the world in such a better way. And I think that is such a beautiful thing. So of course, when I started out as a creative entrepreneur, I was a photographer first, and then I went into wedding photography. But I found it really hard because back in those days, there wasn't too much going on with podcasts or YouTube. Wasn't any online courses for it. There was workshops, but it was very hard. Now, what I do want to say is the people that showed up and did workshops and things like that, I want to say a big thank you to those people that came before me that helped me get the success faster than what they got, right? So they handed on that torch and they allowed people like myself and in my generation take things to another level. And now we're in the same position where we can hand on that torch, but we want to be able to make it more accessible, readily available for those that are coming up right now so they can get bigger success than what we ever had, which to me is such a beautiful thing. So with Educators Rising, you probably have seen that right now it's the influencer economy, and influencers come, like, I know a lot of people don't like that word, but there's all different shapes and sizes of influencers, right? So one leg of influencing is educating. So educating, it all comes down to like selling and marketing, because if you can move people and influence people, that's what marketing is and that's what selling is. And so it's a skill set that we need. But with educating, we're taking things to another level, because instead of just trying to influence people, we're trying to impact their life in a positive way and bring them some sort of value, right? So educators, I had this conversation with my friend the other day, and they said, well, what's an educator? Is that a school teacher? I don't understand what it is. And it's a whole new industry. And if you don't know what it is a whole new industry, right? But I've seen it across the board, like educators where maybe they have a pottery class and they show people how to spin the wheel. Or maybe they're a musician and they have an online course on how to produce music. I've got a friend that's a concreter, and he literally has a course showing people, DIY dads and other tradesmen, how to do the techniques that he's learned in his career. I've seen wedding photographers boost off super successful careers, becoming public speakers, even just influencing and teaching on podcasts or on their Instagram or on TikTok. I've seen amazing fitness influencers really step up and show people nutrition and movement and how to have a better well-being. You see a lot of yoga and Pilates influencers / educators that show up and they give us tips and tricks and things like that. In fact, I just started following someone on social media the other day on Instagram, and this young lady creates really beautiful vegan meals, and the way that she presented it and the way that she talked about the food, she was really passionate, but how simple it was to put together the food. For me, it was a game changer, because I'm like, I want to try every single one of these recipes. I don't need to read a book anymore, the recipe book. I'm not trolling through Google trying to find those recipes. She has a reel every single day, it pops up, and then I'm excited to go out there and make that food, right? So it's reignited my passion for cooking. And because there's someone out there has a passion for cooking and decided to educate other people with what she knows. And I think that's really cool. So one of the reasons why this new show, Educators Rising, is going to be separated from Make Your Break. Make Your Break is very much business, life, creative business, creativity, all those things meshed into like what we're doing. We're going out there, we're actually creating our break. Maybe we are a photographer, maybe we're a videographer, a musician, an author, a poet. Maybe we're a steel worker. I don't know what you do. Maybe you're a silversmith, but you're out there and you're making things happen for yourself. You're making your break. You're making your own opportunities. You're working on your mindset. You're learning new strategies. You're listening to me because I give you some sort of inspiration and motivation, and hopefully a strategy that gets you to your goals, where you want to be. That's what this whole show is all about. And I bring on speakers and I interview people that I believe is going to bring you some sort of value in some way. And a lot of the times it could even just be inspiration. So I interview people that have done big things, have made their break in some way, and hopefully they can pass the torch on to you. Now, with the whole new show, it's not so much that. Of course, it's going to be mindset, motivation, inspiration, things like that. But I'm talking more specifically around how can we impact and influence people and educate people, no matter what industry and what niche you're in. So you don't have to be a creative entrepreneur to listen to that one. It's literally for anybody that is there right now thinking, man, you know what? In 2020, it was really hard for me to sustain my business and keep moving forward and having passive income, having an extra revenue stream. So what I would like to do is I would love to create a guide. I would love to launch a podcast. I'd love to create a course. I'd love to launch my coaching. I'd love to book a couple of mentees per year. I'd love to have an intensive workshop. I'd love to host a retreat. I'd love to talk at a conference. I'd love to create some templates. I would love to have some sort of passive income. I want to launch that book that I've been wanting to write forever, right? So Educators Rising is all about that. And so if you resonate with that and you want to make some more passive income, you want to launch something that's a little bit different to your main hustle and your main business, maybe you already have done that and you want to make it your main business, your main hustle. Maybe you're a creative entrepreneur and you want to leave that path behind you. You probably know that I have done that myself. I went from electrician to business owner, owning a cafe, to back to being an electrician, to becoming a photographer, then a wedding photographer, and then becoming an educator. Now, for me, it's been such a beautiful transition, like moving my way through, and I'm never stuck on a career and think that that's me forever. I've learned so much on it. I've invested so much. But for me, I always want to continue to learn and grow. And when I feel like I've got towards the best of the best or I've hit a ceiling, I'm not saying I'm the best of the best, but when I feel like I'm at that stage where I start getting stagnant, I've done the things that I need to do, then I usually change career because I always want to be at the bottom. And that's what I did as a coach and educator and here as a podcaster and everything else, because I've got so much to learn. It's a whole new industry. There's whole new people to meet, people to learn from, people to impact, skills to acquire, like knowledge that I'm hunting for. So there's so many things for me to keep me feeling refreshed in my business, creative and challenged, because I love being challenged. So the new show, Educators Rising, hey, if you haven't yet, you should go over and subscribe to it. We got some episodes dropping this week, but it's called Educators Rising by Jai Long, and it's on all your favorite podcast apps and everything else. And if you do go over there, or if you're in my DMs, I'd love to hear from you of what you would like to hear from it. So what I would love to share is I'd love to share my goals as an educator, so you can see behind the scenes of what I do, because I'm all about that. You know, I always wish that my favorite entrepreneurs documented how they built their business, the framework that they used, the stats that they have, the people that they connect with, how they connected with those people, how do they launch their successful courses, their book, how did they become a New York Times bestseller, like things like that. So I think for me, it's such a perfect industry and space for me to become a detective and actually go out there and interview some of the best that are doing amazing things in that space and impacting people, educating people and sharing their knowledge and their wealth of ideas and things like that. And then I can share them with you. And then also for me to document the process of how I went from my first workshop, which lost me $5,000, to my first six-figure launch, to my first $1 million launch, to my first $10 million year, and then beyond that, right? So I'm always hungry. I'm always pushing because I want to be the best business owner and educator for myself, so I can inspire you to do the same, right? So I know so often people write to me in my DMs and say, Jai, like, why would you possibly want to make $1 million a year? Like, what's the point of that? Is that for your ego? But for me, I'm trying to impact people and I don't know how big their goals are. So I want to be the best business owner I can be. I want to be so successful. Because if I'm teaching other people, it means for me to become successful, it means I had to risk a lot. I had to invest a lot into myself. I had to educate myself. I had to go through so many mindset blocks. I had to work on my mindset to be able to get there, because trust me, no one out there accidentally makes $1 million. Yes, of course you can win the lottery, but if you're an entrepreneur and you've done that, it took a skill set. And then if you made 10 million, it took a skill set. You made that happen. If you made 100 million, it took a skill set. If you made $1 billion, there's not many accidental billionaires out there, right? So it's really important for me to keep leveling up myself as a business owner and my success, so I can keep coming back and showing you the transformations that I went through, the mindset blocks and how I got through them, and so I can stay ahead of you and stay ahead of the game all the time. And also so I'm challenged, because I don't want to be complacent and resting on my laurels of where I've come from to where I am today. I'm always looking at the future, like, where am I going tomorrow? How can I stay hungry? How can I stay humble? How can I stay energetic and energized and enthusiastic and excited and everything else? And if you know me and you've been listening to this show for a long time, I always say the word excited, because it's my anchor word, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm scared, if I'm nervous, whatever it is, I always say I'm excited, and I change it to excitement. And for this whole new venture and this whole new year ahead in 2023, launching a whole new show, it's me just making sure that I'm excited about my career, and I'm scared and I'm nervous and I'm learning and I'm going to fail. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to pull through. I'm going to have challenges. Yes, I'm going to have big lows. I'm going to have huge highs, and I know everything in between. I'm going to hire people. I'm going to fire people. I'm going to be heartbroken. I'm going to be ripped off. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to cry. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to tear my hair out. I know all the things ahead of me, because I know that's the life that I chose as an entrepreneur, and I know that you chose that as well. I think so often, a lot of the times we get down on ourselves because we underestimate what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur, and for us to challenge ourselves to see our true selves. Like, what can we actually do in this world? How do we show up? And when the times get low, we think I didn't see that. Like, no entrepreneur told me it was going to be hard. I was listening to John on the podcast and I didn't realize he goes through this. And then we give up so easy. But when you anticipate these things, like, I'm launching something new, I'm going to get some hate. Someone's going to counsel me for some reason. I'm going to get some people unfollowing, unsubscribing. I'm going to get some lovers. I'm going to get some fans. I'm going to get some super fans. There's going to be so many things in between. I'm going to have some major lows. I'm going to have self-doubt. And I do. And I have been, like, even thinking, I've actually already recorded the first 3 episodes of this new show. And I've got, man, the self-doubt I have is just insane. If people could see what I go through to launch something, it would make them feel better about themselves, because what people don't realize is we all go through that, right? I'm scared of negative feedback, of the reviews. I'm scared of someone not liking what I'm putting out there. I'm scared. I feel inadequate because it's a whole new industry. It's a whole new thing that I'm talking about, a whole new topic. Like, I'm so scared of these things. And then I have imposter syndrome. And then I re-recorded the first episode twice because in the middle of the night I woke up, I was like, it's not good enough. So I go through all this. I'm a creative, right? First, business owner second. So as a creative, I do hold myself back and I obsess over these things. But then my logical mind comes in and says, Jai, just launch the fucking thing. I just put it out to the world. It doesn't have to be perfect. All the success you've ever had is because you made something happen and then you perfected it later. Like, just do the thing. The sooner you take action, the sooner you'll get the success that you want. The sooner you take action, the sooner you'll move closer to the life that you want. The sooner you take action, the sooner you'll get towards that future that you've been dreaming of and that you can envision and you can imagine. And as creative, we always imagine something for ourselves, I think it's one of the most amazing things about being a creative. We have such a crazy imagination. We can imagine things, and then if you've got the skills and you take the action, we can bring those into our own lives and into our world. Now, so often, so many people get stuck on their circumstances because they are where they are because of, it could be so many outside factors. But people like you listening to this podcast right now, and you're wild enough to listen to something called Make Your Break, you're not complacent and you're not worried about your circumstances. You're thinking, I know that I am in this situation. Of course, I know I don't have that much money. I know I'm one paycheck away from losing everything. I know that. I know I'm underprivileged. I know that. I know I shouldn't be here. I'm an imposter. I know that. But you are stepping up and you're making your own break and you are pushing through regardless of all of that and regardless of your own self-doubt. And that's one of the beautiful things. And that's why I think I can resonate with so many of you, and you can resonate with me, because I'm going through that same thing. Self-doubt. I'm the underdog. Who's going to listen to me? Am I worthwhile? I don't know. Is this good enough? Are people going to hate me? Of course. Am I going to get more haters than I already have? Probably. Am I going to impact one person in a positive way? I know I will. Is it worth it? It's worth it for that. So if you're an educator, you're thinking about becoming an educator, you want to make some passive income, maybe you want to make some proactive income, 2023 is the year you're going to diversify a little bit. You're already killing it in your creative space and you think, hey, I could probably add an online course. I could add a guide. I could add something. I'm going to launch a podcast. I would love to write a book. I would love to release an audiobook. I would love to have a guide, a template, whatever it is. I want to make an ebook. I want to have a course, a best-selling course. Like, I want these things. Then this new show, Educators Rising, is going to give you a whole new perspective that I've never heard anywhere. I'm going to talk about it completely differently because I'm bringing in mindset and thoughtfulness into this space. It's not just about making cash, which most of these online course creator podcasts is all about. It's going to be about how can we best leave a legacy, make our industry, whatever your industry is, better than what it was before we came, and build something for ourselves and for our family and for everybody around us. And I think with intention, is going to be the most beautiful thing. So that's it for today. Make sure you head over to Educators Rising. I will have a link on my Instagram all this week. So if you do want to find it, it's right there. But otherwise, I'm going to link it below in the captions right here as well, so you can find it. Please subscribe. Please leave a review if you enjoy it. I want to get it out to the world. Share it with your friends and family. Let's do a big launch. Help me, help you. Help me, help this new show becomes successful so we impact more people, so I can create more content that's going to help your career go to a whole new level. And for that, I'm always so thankful. So you've been listening to Jai Long. I'm going to see you next week. Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, Make Your Breakers. Don't you hate how you can't sort through podcasts by most listened to, most reviewed, and most loved? Right? As fellow podcast junkies, we feel you. While we can't magically change Apple or Spotify's platform, we have created a little something. Sifting through all of Make Your Breaks episodes today, yep, we are talking all 200 plus episodes, we've meticulously curated some banging playlists just for you. We're talking the all-time hottest hits from Make Your Break, starring the juicy inspiration, motivation, and creative biz insights you know and love. Sound good? Jump into the show notes and follow the link to generate your very own Make Your Break playlist.